Welcome to Toffee TV. I am joined by Roger Armstrong this morning. Roger, you will know from Everton Business Matters, although he hasn't done it for a while, but still, you know, big Evertonian. He's got lots of opinions on the Blues, and the international breaks come up, and it's not going great for Everton. So I thought I'd have a chat with Roger and just get his point of view on what, you know, how the club's looking, how the team's looking, and what he hopes and what we all hope to see moving forward. Good morning, Roger. Good to speak to you.
Hi, Baz. How are you doing?
Yeah, well, I've been better. I'm all right. Personally, I'm okay, but obviously the big blue problem on the horizon is getting me down a little bit. What about yourself?
You know, where'd you start with this? We've played 8 games, and we ended last season really strongly. So we looked at the fixtures. They looked quite decent. We thought we'd be, you know, going into this international break, 8 games in, 4 games at home, 4 away, played no one other than Man City. You'd have thought more than 7 points, wouldn't you?
Yes, I'd have thought more than 7 points after the first 3 games, to be honest. But there we go.
Till I watched Ped, it's 5 years since we lost 4 games in a row in the Premier League. And I don't know who those 4 were, but I'm not sure, you know, Sheffield United, Bournemouth, Burnley, you know, we're not losing to top 4, top 6 teams. The most concerning thing for me, Baz, is we're not playing good football. We're stuck in a formation and a style of play that I thought went out with the arc. 2 holding midfield players. I don't understand what we're trying to do. I don't understand why Morgan Schneiderlin's being picked game after game after game. I don't understand why we seemingly cannot adjust to a formation this manager wants to play. By all accounts, he wants to play 4-3-3. And I would have thought that I understand that he inherited a lot of dross. Deadwood, call it what you will. Other people signing, Steve Walsh, cast-offs, whoever. But you'd have thought that 18 months into this phase of the project, him and the director of football might have been able to buy some players that could play 4-3-3. And I think if you look back at the summer transfer window, you have to give it a big thumbs down. And I feel sorry for Marco, because I don't think he's been given the resources to kick on in this first half of this season, having finished last season strongly. But I'm struggling to defend him. I really am struggling to defend him on this run of form. It's a results business. We're in the bottom 3, played 8 games. We've failed to score in 4 of those games. And he's starting to look like a very desperate man. He's run out of ideas. He doesn't change things. And I just can't see how you can continue playing the same worn-out formation. If I could see some green shoots, I just can't see any. We're actually getting worse. And I was on here just over a year ago with my old man after Palace, and we weren't playing great then, but you know, we kicked on and we started playing some good football. 2 years ago, almost exactly 2 years ago, we lost at home to Burnley, 1-0. And Ronald got the heave-ho. We just lost to Burnley 1-0 in a pretty similar way, you know. 3 man at the far post, can't mark for toffee. I don't know where we go, Baz. I'm really struggling for answers. And optimism. And when you look at the fixtures upcoming, in the next 8 games, we're going to have any more than 7 points out of them, and table doesn't lie, does it?
No, I mean, listen, it's difficult to disagree with anything you've just said. Really, you know, when we're trying to you try to stay positive, especially doing stuff like this. You've got to try to look at everything. I mean, Saturday night, I was resigned to it. It was just grim. Yesterday, I was a little bit more analytical, although then I seen other teams winning games and it just gave me a cob on. Teams like Wolves, you know, and people like that, Newcastle, who were horrific, winning football matches. And today, I suppose I'm annoyed today now. I've gone through the 3 stages of post-Everton Blues. And I think when you look at it, listen, we've played Palace, Villa, Bournemouth and Burnley away. And we've scored 1 goal and we haven't won a game. So we took a point out of those 4, which is terrible. No one can dress it up any differently. It's terrible. The biggest concern for me is with the manager is why he's not tried to mix it up. I think when you we lost at Bournemouth and we didn't play very well. They weren't very good either. Individual mistakes cost us that day. Blah blah blah. The week later we had Sheffield United at home. He should have changed the formation. We should have been attacking. We were playing a team that's just come up from the Championship, a team that hasn't spent a lot of money. It's basically a Championship side playing in the Premier League, which is fine, no issue with that. They run their club out, they should. But we had 2 defensive midfield players at home, and now okay, in isolation, that game was almost like a freak result. They had 3 attempts at goal and won 2-0, and they only had 1 on target. You know, we had 16, 70% of the ball, blah, 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 blah. In isolation, you have those games, and you walk out the stadium and you go, one of them days, that, and you get on with it. But it wasn't one of them days because we'd seen it too much. And then we followed it up with, okay, City, we had a go and it was slightly better for effort-wise. But then Saturday, we're back to square one. But the big problem for me across those 4 games is it's been the same formation, the same personnel. Now, okay, Man City, we had illness and Bernard wasn't involved, but then Bernard was fit on Saturday and didn't even get on the pitch. And so the manager, to me, needs to look at himself in that situation and say, with the players I've got, can I be doing better? Listen, he's had more money than any manager, for probably any manager in Everton's history. There or thereabouts, him and Koeman have probably had similar amounts of money. I don't know what we're doing. I don't know. And listen, I'm one of those people that tries not to go straight for the manager because footballers, particularly nowadays, I've just read an article yesterday, apparently a source from Tottenham saying their players don't like the fact that Pochettino's got this regime and they have to work hard in training. And it makes you just look at it and go, you are on £100,000 a week. Stop whinging because you have to do set pieces for 2 hours till you get it right or whatever. That's your job. You know, in your job, when you've had to work, you've had to do things you didn't want to do, but you get on with it because you have to do your job. But all that being said, the manager is the person who puts those players onto the pitch. When he come in, Marco, I remember the very first interview he did, and he said he was going to play 4-3-3, and it was a attacking football, and we give him that last year, didn't we? We give him it. It was a new squad. He brought a few players in, and he had this rough patch, and I was the one I defended him the whole way through it, saying, "Listen, the players have got to get the finger out, and it's them who are playing the game." And then we came out of it, like you rightly said, and we finished the season very strongly. And it's almost, I said this last week, it looks to me as if we've ripped up everything we were doing in the back end of the season, which was working. And it's like he's just taken over in the summer again. And he's trying to get to know the players again. To me, it just seems bizarre. Absolutely bizarre.
Do you know what it reminds me of? I was thinking about this morning. And it's like the kid who's late for school, right? And, he'll have a different excuse every day, but he's always bloody late.
Yeah.
And Marco is making the same mistake time and time again. Teams, you can say he hasn't been given the resources. Okay, they haven't been able to buy the players. I mean, the failure to buy a Zuma replacement is criminal. I mean, how that happened. I hear that Marcel had loads of other centre-backs lined up, but Silva wanted Zuma, and if he couldn't have Zuma, they had to have Premier League experience. And look, it could be a load of hot air, but to fail for Mason Holgate to be our third choice centre-back is criminal. And the fact that we don't have a centre-forward, a proper goal-scoring centre-forward, we can't be relying on Moise Kean or even DCL. You can argue he hasn't been given the resources, but managers' personalities are reflected in their teams. You look at Klopp and that team that he sends out, they change the personnel, but particularly in the midfield, but they play the same way. You look at Man City, they reflect the manager's personality. You even look at Arsenal, and you look at Tottenham right now. They're reflecting Pochettino right now because he's a bit down on himself and they're a bit down on themselves. And this Everton team that I watch is boring as hell, and I don't see any passion. Other than Seamus getting sent off, I don't see any passion.
That wasn't
they don't seem to.
That wasn't.
Well, no,
that was stupid.
No, that was stupid. Absolutely stupid. Got away with one. Could have seen red.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't do anything dubious. Yeah. I don't get, for example, I don't get sending John Joe Kenny to Germany. I don't get that, because when Brands explains it, he says he needs game time, and I've brought Sidibe in as a loan, just as cover for Kenny, whilst Kenny's away in Germany. Well, surely John Joe can get Premier League game time, can't he? Why do we need... there's little bits of it that just don't hang together, which comes back to what the bloody hell is the plan? And where do we go from here? Because we've bought into the director of football structure. You may or may not be a fan of it. But what it does do right now is it limits your choices in the managerial market, because there are certain names out there that are being bandied around very happily, whether it's Benitez, whether it's Mourinho. That name to come in and take us where we want to get to, ain't no way either of those guys are going to work with the director of football. Well, forget it.
But Jose did say that's what he wants to work with. He wanted that at United.
Listen, if Jose would come, I'll drive in there, I'll open the door and I'll polish his shoes.
Rog, honestly, I believe he would come. I believe he'd be there in a heartbeat, because I don't think... you can talk about Real Madrid and blah, 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 right? The fact is that they win every game now. Zidane's got them going again now. So they're winning every league game, the top of the La Liga. Not great in the Champions League, but doing well there. Barcelona, he's never getting the job, because they call him the interpreter and all that. So for Mourinho, where's he going to go? There's not many places he can go. He's gone publicly and said he wants a club that isn't at the very top, but has got ambition to try to get up there. He wants a director of football. He wants money. It all seems to be where Everton are. Right? And I'm not sitting here saying sack the manager, get rid of him, get Mourinho in. But I believe if that opportunity arose, I think Mourinho would be in the conversation. However, just to kind of go back to your point, would he be on Brands' list? I don't know. I think for Mourinho to take it, he would have to know that he's working with a director of football, which is, I mean, to be fair, he has said that's what ruined United, the fact he didn't have one. Because he had Ed Woodward, who's fabulous at financial deals, but hasn't got a clue about football.
But he's not football.
No, hasn't got a clue. No. Other than that, Benitez, I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I think if Everton are to change the manager, and apparently this morning, it's been reported that they're not, Marco Silva's safe for whatever, for as long as whatever. So if that's the case, fair enough. But if Everton are to change the manager, I think we're going to need to step away from up-and-coming hopefuls that they might turn into Klopp or Pep at the moment, because I just think the clubs like that, and what we need is almost the stability to say, we need someone who commands respect first and foremost, and whatever else Mourinho is, he's won everything. So therefore, listen, people will say he failed at United. He still delivered them 2 trophies and a second place finish.
I'll take that failure.
Without a shadow. So he's won stuff wherever he's gone, whether he's long term or not. He quite clearly isn't. But if Jose Mourinho was to take over at Everton and come in and kick ass, I think what it would do, Rog, is it's someone who Moshiri would kind of go, that's Jose, I have to listen to him. Whether he'd work with Brands, I don't know, is the truth. I honestly don't know. You could say, I'm doubtful. Maybe you're right to be doubtful, but he has literally gone on record and said, I want a director of football. Brands is respected. Whether it plays out like that, I don't know. He's done his job. He's very good at his job. Is he good at his job at Everton? I don't know, because is the manager getting the best out of the players he's got? What I would say, and I would agree with you, is the centre-back situation is a failure. So it's a failure from either Marcel, or it's a failure from Marco, or it's a failure from Moshiri, or it's a failure from all of them. Because my understanding of it is, and people I speak to, is that Chelsea was still saying there was a chance of Zuma 72 hours before the window. But there was no chance of him 24 hours before the window. So therefore, I know that Tomori thing was coming off until they sold David Luiz to Arsenal. But even then, we should have been able to get a mobile centre-back in the Premier League. I know we went for Smalling and Rojo, but there would have been players around in Europe, France, who we could have got. Right, so that's a failure. Whoever shoulder that lies on, I don't know. Maybe it's Marcel, maybe it's Marco, I'm not so sure. Centre forward, we've got Tosun, who scored goals. I'm not saying he's good enough, by the way, I'm just saying he's got goals. Moise Kean, I think, to me, is one of the best young players in the world. I don't know what we're doing with him, because we're not playing a style that helps him. Dom is getting better, but is he going to get it? But the other thing with Dom as well is, are we playing to his strengths as well? We're not. So, if you play... listen, we could have Harry Kane in our team, and we wouldn't get him many chances because of the way we play. Liverpool and Man City, the best two teams in the league, play a flat three in midfield and a high three up front, and they're all close to each other, and they all interlink, and the fullbacks go on the outside. Everton play a 4-2-3-1, and believe a centre forward isolated 30 yards up the pitch, and then our wingers, who we want on the edge of the box, a defender. Richarlison is 5th for most tackles in the Premier League this season. Not in forward players. Out of everybody, he's in the top 6 most tackles this season. So I've got no problem with how hard he works, but I want him doing his best work in and around opposition penalty areas, and that's the issue. So that again comes back to Marco, I suppose.
Well, it does. If he's a coach, Baz, what's he coaching? You know, and that's the issue. He's not coaching defending set pieces for a start. Does he spend any time talking to Gylfi Sigurdsson about how to play the game of football and his role on the pitch? Because Gylfi is absolutely lost, and for all his goals last season, he scored 10, 12, whatever it was, you know, I still think we are more likely to score a goal without him on the pitch, because he's in the way. He's permanently in the way. Doesn't get enough of the ball. I don't think he's a natural number 10, and I don't think 4-2-3-1 plays to his strengths. Coming back to your point about the manager, right? 2 points. Firstly, either the target we have is achievable or not. And let's just say top 8, right?
Yeah.
And we'd like top 6 and we'd like to progress. Either we have a squad capable of getting in the top 8 or we don't. I believe we do.
Yeah.
Therefore, is Marco doing a good enough job to get us there? And I think the answer is no, he's not. So either our target's wrong or he's not doing a good job.
Okay.
Now, if you're saying your target is to stay in the Premier League, fine, Marco, carry on. You know, Chris Wilder's doing a great job at Sheffield United because all they want to do is stay up. Arguably, Pochettino's doing a shit job at Tottenham because they want to be in the top 3. Yeah? So is your target realistic? And if our target's realistic, then you have to look at the manager and the football structure. And coming back to Mourinho, the amount of money we've wasted on players pales into insignificance compared to paying him, what does he want, 10 million quid a year? I don't know. But if you're running a business, you should get the best man at the top of that business. And then he or she brings their people with them, right? So spend top dollar on the leader of the pack. And we've never done that. I mean, arguably, we spent quite a bit of money on Koeman, and we've had to pay compensation and all of that stuff with Watford for Silva. But actually, let's go and get the very best manager that's out there. And if it's Jose, it's Jose. If it's Rafa, it's Rafa. If it's someone else, fine. If you can get someone from the continent, fine. But get the best man at the top of your business, at the top of your club, and go from there. Instead, I mean, I wrote this piece the other week about, I now think we've got a team of mercenaries because I don't think anybody wants to play for us. The only players who want to play for Everton and wear that blue shirt, Tom Davis, Seamus Coleman, and maybe Michael Keane and maybe Jordan Pickford. Everyone else is taking top dollar or see us as a stepping stone. And that doesn't create a team spirit. There's no unity. We don't play like a team. We don't seem to roll our sleeves up. And when the going gets tough, we give up. And that's got to come from the very top of the organisation. So get a ruffling feathers man in, get a Mourinho in, get a Benitez in, and let's see what people can do. Because the raw assets, you know, Richarlison, world-class player, but he's not playing in the right position. You know, Sigurdsson is a talented footballer, but we've made him look like just a complete waste of space. He's totally ineffective now. And we've got, you know, poor old Luca Digne came in like a house on fire. Not sure what's happened to him this season.
No Bernard.
You know, defensively.
No Bernard.
Hey?
That's the
no
problem.
Bernard.
No Bernard, because he's... Yeah. We had a relationship down that left-hand side and he broke it. which is...
And it's like you said, it's like Marco's come in as a new manager at the start of this season. All the good things he established, all the momentum that was established last season, we've thrown it in the bin.
You've depressed me.
So I'd get rid. No, I'm happy to say I would get rid. And if that puts me in the minority or the majority, I don't really care. But I think from a business perspective, from the results, you've played 8, you haven't scored in 4, we've only got 7 points, and you're the coach. Okay, you're not responsible for the transfer dealings. You're not getting the best out of that group of players. They're performing less than 50% of their ability. And now is the time to change, because if it doesn't change quickly, we're going to be in Allardyce country by the middle of November, and we don't want to go there again.
Don't. Well, listen, it's difficult to argue, isn't it? You know, I look at Liverpool when they had Brendan Rodgers. You know, when they were 8th in the league, they drew with us. Jurgen Klopp was available. So don't forget, Brendan Rodgers had almost won them the league.
Correct.
Out of nowhere. I know it was Suarez and Sturridge, but Brendan Rodgers' team. And what did they do? They didn't go, well, he nearly won us the league. They went, Jurgen Klopp's a better manager and he's available. Let's get him now. And they made the break. And actually, at this time, it was this time 4 years ago. And they made the decision to bring in the manager, and they went, let's get someone in at the top and let him get on with it. And I suppose for Everton, we'll see where they want to go now. It's up to them, isn't it? I mean, the manager, if they give him longer, then he has to do something and start making changes and get people behind him. But if it carries on the way it is, I don't know whether you're in the minority anymore of getting rid. To be honest, I don't know. That's the truth, because I don't know what to think. I think we've been down it. We've listened since Moise went. We've not been great at making appointments, have we, of managers. Martinez was a mistake.
No,
it was a massive mistake.
Yeah.
Koeman, the club had reservations about, even after they'd offered him the job. He didn't know whether to pull the plug. Allardyce, he come in and done what they asked him to do. And then Marco, I was quite happy with Marco. I thought he's a young attacking coach. We'll do this, we'll grow together. But at the moment, it's not working, and he's not showing signs of change, and that's the most worrying for me. Results come and go, and can do. And there's reasons why we're not as good as we were. We haven't got Garner, we haven't got Zuma. He's lost Gomez and Gbamin, who would have been his midfield too. But under all that, you have to then be brave enough to go, this isn't working, I'm trying this, and this isn't working, I'm going to try that.
Yeah.
And at the minute, he looks...
It's in-game substitutions, Baz. You know, his in-game substitutions, they make no sense. He looks like a last load of forwards on. Yeah.
That's what he looks. He looks like he's feeling the pressure. You can't really have that from a manager. Your manager has to portray, I know what I'm doing and we're on this path. And so, I don't know, have the club helped them as well, get his personality across? No. And I've said this to them, we've said it to them. No one knows who he is. That's on the club. So going forward, we have to be better at that. I don't know, we're in flux, aren't we? We're in flux. Whether it's get rid of him or keep him, I don't know. But one thing is for sure, it has to change. Something has to change. And it needs to change radically and very quickly. Otherwise, you're right, we're going to be heading out of November in a very, very sticky situation with games coming up against Liverpool's and your Chelsea, United, Arsenal. Now, okay, 2 of those 4 games aren't as hard as what they have been, but if we're still playing the way we are negatively, they will be difficult games. So it's got to change, and it's got to happen very, very quickly. Otherwise, you're right, we will. It's going to be a long, hard season.
I think the only bright spark that I can see, and maybe the only thing the club are clinging on to, 2 things, right? One is Gbamin, who, from what I hear, I've barely seen him kick a ball, but from what I hear, he could be the man that could allow us to progress to 4-3-3. And the second thing is that we're still in the League Cup, right?
Yeah.
If we lose, I do think they'll get rid in this window. I actually think they will, because the pressure is almost unbearable. I think they will decide this window to get rid. But if they don't, you know, a victory at home to West Ham in the league, whatever. You know, because we know our league form at the moment under him, and in this formation we're going to win 1, lose 2, and that's not going to get us anywhere. But if we lose at home to Watford in the League Cup, that'll be the end.
Yeah, I think it'd be very difficult for him to ride that out if that played out the way it did. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, Rod, to be honest. It's a head scratcher. You've made some fantastic points, and like I say, difficult to disagree with the majority of what you're saying, to be honest with you. I think we're all feeling a little bit bruised and battered at the moment. 4 defeats on the run, 5 defeats in the last 6.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah, go on.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How much are you prepared to compromise on style of football for results? Because I'll tell you, I'm prepared to compromise 100%. I want us to win games. First and foremost, I want us to win games of football, and at the very least be competitive against those sides that are clearly better, whether that be Liverpool or Manchester City. We need to be winning games of football. You mentioned Real Madrid, you mentioned Barcelona. They can win games ugly. They win games 1-0, because I've lost so much money backing them to score 3 goals. I know that, When they were at home to, whoever, down the bottom of the league, the equivalent of a Sheffield United, Real Madrid will win 1-0. And I'll compromise, because we need to get into that habit of winning games of football. And right now, we're in the habit of making excuses for having a lot of possession and being ineffective. How do you balance that, style versus results?
Listen, obviously, I'd want to see us playing fast attacking football that wins. I'd be honest with you, Rod, I couldn't watch Allardyce's football again, because that was 1 shot on target in 3 games. But
that wasn't match-winning football.
No. But if you're saying to me, would you tolerate winning games 2-0 under Mourinho, but making sure that we were tight and compact and all that, then of course, listen, David Moyes' teams played some great stuff at times, but other times we were we had a game plan and we stuck to it. And there's nothing, at R5 on a Saturday night, you don't go back over the game going, oh, that was terrible. You just look where we are, we're 3rd in the league.
Or whatever. Exactly.
So winning is the most important thing, isn't it? And that's, I suppose that's what the owner needs to look at. We're trying to progress with the stadium, which we are doing. But it's no good going to a stadium with a team that's in the Championship or a team that's bottom half, because then, even though I think personally that the capacity of the new stadium is too small, if we continue to underperform, the club will be absolutely right, because we won't fill it. Because it costs so much money. If we're not winning games and people aren't seeing progression and people aren't enjoying it, then why will they go? Why would we get 60,000 people just because you got a new stadium? We wouldn't. So
it's a self-fulfilling prophecy then, doesn't it? All starts at the top. So you go and you get the best man, because that's what you want to do. We want to win the Premier League. We want to win the FA Cup. We want to compete in the Champions League. Are we going to do that under Marco Silva? 0 chance. 0 chance. Do we have a chance of that under Jose Mourinho? People can laugh all they bloody want, but yes. Is there more of a chance of us getting Champions League football under Jose Mourinho? And is that our ambition? Then go and get him and go from there. And then by the time we go into Bramley Moor, you're going to fill the place. You're going to fill the place, you're going to have better players.
And then you can get Arteta.
You're going to have, it's all about confidence and ambition. And right now, from the top down, it's mediocrity, and it's pissing me off.
Right, I'm going to leave it there. But what I will do, Rog, is John's back next week, so it'd be good to do something with you and John, a little bit more about a more rounded view of the club as well as the playing the playing side of it. But thank you very much for making some great points there and not sitting on the fence, which is sound. That's what we want. Thanks very much for taking the time to join us.
You're welcome.
And enjoy the sun down there on the south coast.